everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon for this product tour today. We're very excited to be here, and we really appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend it with us. Before we kind of dive into the bulk of the session today, I just want to take a quick moment to give you an overview of GoToWebinar in case you are unfamiliar. But I realize at this point you are probably familiar with all the webinar platforms out there. A couple things, just please note that you are all on mute. You can use your control panel as you see here on the slide to submit questions at any time during this product tour. We'll be responding to questions as they come in, and we are going to stop for Q&A a couple of times throughout, so please ask away. At the end of this webinar, an exit survey will pop up, so please take a few moments to fill out that survey and provide us with some feedback so that we can continue to improve our webinar program. Lastly, I just want to mention that this webinar is being recorded, and we'll send out the recording via email tomorrow. Now, just a quick look at our agenda today. We're just going to start with some brief introductions and an overview of NovoEd before moving on to our topic and discussing really L&D's current predicament and how to overcome digital fatigue with blended learning before we pop into a demo of our platform. Starting with introductions, my name is Jessica and I'm on the marketing team here at NovoEd. And today I'm joined by my colleague Juan Moran. Juan is a seasoned education technology consultant focusing on analyzing business problems and offering strategies and tools to solve them. Currently, Juan serves as an expert and evangelist on using the NovoEd platform capabilities and technology to create really high impact learning experiences. He enjoys learning about his customers, constituents, systems, processes, metrics, and desired outcomes. And we're both very excited to be here with you today. Oh, and I apologize. I apparently forgot to update this slide. So we are not having Amanda here. We are having Juan, so totally apologize for that.
No problem. Hi, everyone. This is Juan.
Thanks, Juan. In case you are unfamiliar with NovoEd's platform, our collaborative learning platform empowers organizations to design and deliver experiential learning that accelerates business performance on a global scale. Since our company's founding at Stanford's Social Algorithm Laboratory in 2012, we've partnered with global corporations, executive education providers, and training firms to develop high-value capabilities through purposeful practice and application, coaching and mentorship, as well as group collaboration, which are some of the things that you'll actually see live today. Our proven approach to learning helps connect diverse groups of learners, mentors, and leaders in a high-impact online environment. Some of the customers that we work with, as you can see here, include Kraft Heinz, IDEO, GE, and Stanford. Now, before we go any further, I would love to take a moment and hear from the audience today. So I just launched this poll on your screen, and it should ask you, what training initiatives is your organization planning to move or expand online? You do have the option to select multiple here, or you can just select one, whichever, I guess, fits for you. I'll leave it open for a couple of seconds here just to get your input. Great, thank you everyone who voted so far. I'll leave it open for about 10 more seconds. If you have not had a chance yet, please give us your answers. Wonderful, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll today and I'll share the results with you. I always love doing this poll because I never know really what I'm gonna get. Typically when we've done it in the past, it's kind of been a mixed bag, but it seems like today, actually a large majority of you are focused on leadership training. I think that's really in line with the conversations that we've been having and what we've been hearing as well. And then of course, digital transformation, obviously given everything that's happened this year, digital transformation has definitely accelerated for most businesses. So I think that totally makes sense. So again, thank you everyone for your participation in this poll. With that said, let's really move on to the topic at hand. I want to kind of start by setting some context and talking about the evolution of online training. In this chart here, the blue represents in-person training and the green represents online training. You can see that there has been a gradual trend really towards online learning in the past couple of decades, pre-pandemic, of course. And then within the last few years, it has even hit a threshold of about 50 or so percent of corporate training done online. Another nuance are the darker shades here, which represent higher level skills like leadership development, which I know a majority of you are focused on right now, as well as design thinking. Historically, this has been done in person, but there have been more attempts to kind of push richer, deeper learning online, especially since March, where in-person programs were postponed or canceled, and organizations had to kind of hasten their move to online training. For those critical programs that couldn't be put on hold, L&D teams had to move very quickly to VILT, kind of like what we're doing here, but through a series of video conferences. And for many, it has been a godsend, and it was very easy to switch over, especially since organizations already had access to these platforms like GoToMeeting, like we're using here, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and so on and so forth. Video conferencing technology is decades old, so it's very reliable. We've been using it for a while, and we're very familiar with it. Teaching methods can more or less stay the same, also with instructors interacting with people online, and tools continue to improve significantly during this time as demand grows. While this has been a great short-term solution, one of the things that we're starting to wonder is how sustainable is this? So on the right-hand side of this slide here, you can see a Google Trends chart for Zoom fatigue, where you can kind of see how much interest there has been in this phrase for the last few months. It initially peaked in April, which was pretty soon after the pandemic started, meaning that it really didn't take long for Zoom fatigue to kind of set in. So how are people responding to this? A couple ways. One, trainers are trying to keep their sessions small, but however, if you're trying to kind of train hundreds or thousands of people, this can be very difficult to scale. You can imagine, scheduling out multiple sessions. And two, they're really trying to chunk up the training and structure over time. For example, what would have been, 1 day, 6-hour training may now be spread out over 4 days and 90 minutes each. But it becomes more difficult to schedule these trainings since not everyone is able to make all of them. And once you kind of run into those logistical problems with scheduling and learners start to miss sessions, you quickly find yourself in, some hot water here. So as time goes on, we've kind of started to see some of the challenges of using video conferencing as a substitute for in-person learning. Learners really suffer from Zoom fatigue as learning becomes kind of just another meeting, which then kind of trickles down and leads to decreased engagement and impact. And on the flip side, instructors struggle to kind of recreate engaging in-person experiences in an online format. So let's start here and kind of talk about what causes Zoom or digital fatigue, whatever you want to call it, and how you can take a blended approach to learning to address some of these challenges. So I've taken a look at some of the research and articles out there on this topic, and you'd be surprised about how much is out there. So I've kind of synthesized all of this data into 3 main causes of fatigue. So one is the nonverbal overload. When we see people, we're used to processing nonverbal signs such as body language, postures, gestures, but we're on a video call. We typically only see people from the chest up, or maybe even the neck up, or maybe not even at all. And we need to kind of work harder to process some nonverbal cues, and paying attention to this consumes more of our energy. 2, we're always on. So the heightened emphasis on facial cues and the ability to see ourselves can also act as a stressor. I know that when I'm on like my Zoom meetings or any like video conferencing calls, I'm always kind of focused on myself just to make sure that everything is looking good. So that really stresses us out as well. Third is boundary anxiety, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this. We feel really anxious about our remote workspace and controlling any events that might make us look bad in front of our colleagues. What if our dog barks? What if our child yells or runs in? What if our neighbor starts mowing their lawn? So we take some time to carefully cultivate this video environment, but it's essentially a very fragile facade that could be crushed at a moment's notice. So really trying to create this separate world creates an additional strain on us. The last point that I want to make here is that our working lives rely heavily on video conferences, even our personal lives now with Zoom weddings or happy hours that are happening. So adding to Zoom fatigue can really make these meetings less productive, these trainings, whatever you want to call it, which I'm sure is not the type of impact that you want to have. So having said this, I don't want to diminish the role of virtual in-person led training. It can be a really effective solution for informational sessions that are short enough to maintain engagement for experiences that can be broken into sessions and delivered over a period of time. So what are your approach, your alternatives? Personally, we believe that blended learning can drive that engagement and collaboration across the learning experience. When we talk about blended, we really mean taking synchronous events which are live and combining them with asynchronous learning, which can be done at any time. Traditionally thought of as in-person training with online supplementary learning, but in today's world, that blend is really between video conferencing and asynchronous learning. There's a couple of benefits that we've seen to this approach, and listed here are: one, it's very flexible. You can still stretch your learning over a period of time, and learners have the flexibility to work on their own schedule. Two, there's more authentic context. You can kind of provide opportunities for practice and application in very real environments. And then three, there's also the multimodal approach. You can now incorporate different modalities and materials and provide learners with items to read, watch, or listen. And by having that variety, that really continues to keep them engaged. Some key considerations here that I want to mention. More time to learn means more time to apply these concepts. Deeper learning also happens when learners are doing and not consuming. So by allowing for practice in real environments and periodic reinforcement, this helps ensure that learners are, having a high return on their training programs. And lastly, learners develop connections and relationships when they work together over time. So by incorporating reflection and feedback. And on this last slide here, I just wanted to show you an example of a learning journey that spaces synchronous and asynchronous activities over time. So for example, this could be a 4-hour in-person training that has been converted into maybe a month-long online experience. At the beginning, you can start with synchronous kickoff calls so that learners can meet one another. You can add various pieces of content and reinforce what has been learned with check-ins like quizzes, peer mentor feedback, as well as team projects, and so on. So really the key to success is a purposeful design process that considers your learners' needs, as well as define learning objectives. We believe that the right combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning can set your learners up for success and really deliver that impact that you want. With that all said, I'm actually going to turn it over to Juan, who's going to walk you through a live demo of our collaborative learning platform, where you can kind of see some of these live examples.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that, Jessica, and thanks to everyone who's joined us today. 71% of you are focused on leadership development. So we're actually going to focus today's demo on a leadership development learning journey and bring that last slide to life and show you exactly how a learner can go through that journey, be able to be part of a multimodal learning experience with live meetings like this one in GoToMeeting or Zoom or Microsoft Teams, as well as having the flexibility of doing things asynchronously at their own pace. Perhaps they're in different time zones. Perhaps you're a global company and you've got people spread out all over the world. And so we'll take a look at that learner's experience specifically, just to kick things off. We're going to pause, take some questions about the learner experience, and then we're going to show you about how we can support that learner through this journey. So we're going to take a look at the mentor's experience that we support on the NovoEd platform. It's a unique experience. You could utilize it for coaches, for managers, subject matter experts, facilitators, and instructors to be able to track the learners and provide them guidance, as well as engage in workflows, like giving them feedback, for example. And then we'll take some questions. And then thirdly, we'll take a brief look at what is it like to be a facilitator or some sort of admin in the system. Perhaps you're the learning experience designer who's creating the learning journey. Perhaps you're the facilitator who needs to access analytics. We'll take a brief look at what that looks like so you get an idea of what does it take to create a social collaborative learning experience like this. So we'll start off with that learner experience. I'm logged in right now as a learner named Leah Tan, and she's already in her learning journey to become a better virtual leader. So her company, NewCo, already had this learning journey available to be able to scale their current in-person instructor-led training. So like a lot of our customers at NovoEd, NewCo is a global company, and people are in different parts of the world. So they need to still have a way to be able to bring them all together and interact, even when there's really almost no way to get them into a Zoom meeting at the same exact time. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So Leah is on the homepage for this learning journey. She's part of a cohort of peers. She's going to be learning with them. They're going to be learning together. It's kind of like a workshop or even an ILT experience. Now, she's going to actually have a multimodal experience. In Jessica's slide, that first step to kick off this journey was a live kickoff webinar. So here is Leah's reminder with a link to the webinar. So there's a join now button. She can click on that and it'll launch her right into whatever meeting tool you're using for those live events, whether that's Microsoft Teams or WebEx or Zoom. Now we do have an integration with Zoom, so we can automatically track attendance and award points for attendance, and even automatically upload a recording of your Zoom session. And we're also looking at other platforms to integrate with, like Microsoft Teams as well. So keep your eye on our roadmap. We have some exciting things coming down the line. Now, Leah also has the opportunity to engage in an asynchronous learning experience too. And that's going to enable her to give her some time to reflect. It's going to enable her to learn in the flow of work. And it's also going to enable her to connect and build relationships with her colleagues that are spread out all over the globe. So over here on the right side of the screen, you'll notice there's a social community panel. And this is where Leah could see her peers. They can all get to know each other. Everyone, in fact, has a profile. And you can have different profiles for different journeys. And by the way, you can use your own terminology on our platform. If you want to call them programs or courses or forums, you can certainly do that. Now, to make things even easier, for someone like Leah, we even integrated with Facebook and LinkedIn just to make it super quick and easy to pull in the information you'd like to share with your peers. And sharing is all about the learning experience for Leah. Here she's able to see things people are saying in discussions, what's trending, what's getting a lot of replies. Part of that social component is liking. So you can give someone a thumbs up for their contribution in a discussion. You also have the opportunity to explore groups as well as teams on our platform. So we'll show you an example of how you could do a team assignment or challenge, but you could also utilize groups for affinity groups, interest groups. Our most popular group today is a dog lovers group. It's just a way to be able to enable people to connect, break the ice, network, build relationships. And then our customers tell us it just makes it that much easier for them to collaborate on work and achieving what they want to do through the learning program. Now, in the center of the screen here, you'll notice that we have a couple progress bars. So in addition to keeping Leah up to date on what's happening with her peers in the social community panel on the right, we also have configurable progress bars that she could see, not just here, but in other areas, depending on her role. Maybe she's a team leader, for example, and she needs to look at a dashboard and not just track her progress, but her team's progress, for example. Now, I said these are configurable. So you could set them up to be gamified. You could use points, for example. Leah even has access to a leaderboard So she could see exactly where does she place amongst her teammates, colleagues, in terms of making progress in the learning journey here. We hear a lot of great feedback from customers saying that gamification really motivates their learners. It makes it fun. They want to level up. They want to be able to brag playfully, very professionally, with their colleagues, and just make it a fun as well as an educational experience. Now you can track your learners however you like too. So you can configure your learning journey to have specific to-dos. If you're in executive education, we work with a lot of providers in higher ed. This could be your learner syllabus, for instance. What's the key takeaway here is we make it really simple for a learner to be able to track exactly what are they supposed to do. And in this case for Leah, she has to participate in a discussion. She has to take a quiz, and she also has to complete a couple of assignments. We've set them up as individual and team challenges where she gets to actually apply the learning, get some practice at it, as well as some feedback. And you're going to see all that as part of the demo today. Now, as Leah's going through her learning journey, she's going to access a variety of different content and activities. So you'll see here, we've got all that laid out for her. So it's easy for her to see what's happening in module 1, or maybe this is your week 1, and now it's been digitized. And you're just launching your first pilot, for converting instructor-led training into a digital virtual format. You can see here, we make it really simple to make that transition. Leah, as a learner, could see exactly what are we going to be covering, what are the lessons on these different pages. So as a better virtual leader, she's going to learn how to manage meetings better remotely. She's going to be able to get some practice at doing that and get some feedback. And she can see exactly what am I going to be doing here and how much time commitment does it require me. 20 minutes of work to get started, 15 minutes of work, or this could save so many minutes of reading, or an hour of watching a video, for example. Now let's go ahead and dive in to that learning journey. And what Leah sees here on the first module, the first page for this first lesson, is an outline. So she can easily know where she's at. And by the way, you can help guide the learner through the journey in a specific way if you'd like to. For example, if you are following like a week 1, week 2 format, you can release your content, your modules according to that schedule and keep all the learners at the same pace. Maybe that's good for making sure they're having conversations at the same time around critical topics. Now, you could also just open this up. In fact, you can make it even self-paced. Like I said, Leah's here in a cohort-based, time-bound learning journey. But this could also be configured as a self-paced learning experience where Leah can decide what she wants to work on. She may be here by herself, but she could still connect with the people that have been here before her as well. Now, I'll show you some examples of how we can make those connections and interactions happen. As Leah's going through the journey, she's going to access a wide variety of content. Now, we have customers like Stanford Business School using our platforms for exec ed, and they use a lot of SCORM. We're SCORM compliant. We include a SCORM cloud player. A lot of our customers are using videos, for example. Here's a video we just started playing. This one's uploaded to our platform, and you get some additional benefits when you do that. You can embed a video from LinkedIn Learning, and in fact, utilize any third-party content you really like to. But we enable you to do things at another level if you do upload it to our platform. For example, for a video, you can embed a video. You can embed a quiz or a survey. Have that video automatically stop and engage the learner for you. It's like automated facilitation. And this way we can ask questions. If it is a survey at the beginning of the journey, maybe just want to see where's that learner at coming into this. You were learning about becoming a better virtual leader. Maybe we just want to ask Leah, do you have experience working remotely in the past, for example? Now, following that video, we have a discussion. One thing we want to make sure we're enabling all our customers to do is place the learning in the context of your learning outcomes, your business, what you're trying to enable them to accomplish. So Leah can absolutely be part of that discussion. As you can see here, she's already participated, and she's even called out one of her colleagues, Ben, who's going to get a notification from the system. Now you can see here, Leah's getting notifications. You could see them right here in the application on a web browser, but you can also see them on our mobile app too. And we're making sure that those conversations are enabling your learners to talk about how they're going to apply, this learning in the context of their work, or perhaps as part of their career goals. Maybe maybe they're going through an exec ed program, like I mentioned, Stanford is doing, or maybe they're working with a external training provider like Forrester, another one of our clients using the NovoEd platform. Now, you'll see here, Leah has access to even more virtual automated facilitation going on here. She's getting feedback automatically on knowledge checks. Here, she's getting a specific explanation as to why the quiz answer she chose is right or wrong. So even if you don't have someone available to check in, provide feedback, which we do enable you to do, you can still make sure that learner has a very interactive experience. Now, speaking of interactive, one of the things we're doing with Leah and the rest of the cohort is giving them opportunities to practice, rehearse what they're trying to learn here as leaders. So here's an assignment. It's a video assignment where we're asking the learners to engage in a role play exercise. They're going to record a 30-second video of themselves practicing leading a meeting. Now, they can fill out a form. Maybe you might want to ask them questions about what are you going to talk about in that presentation? How are you going to structure the presentation here? Now, you can also enable them to not just type in their answers, but upload documents or videos. So Leah can record her video and just drag and drop it here. She can also take advantage of using our mobile app that I mentioned earlier. So I'll show this to you on an iPhone, but we also have an Android version available. And what's great about the mobile app is it's not just great for learning on the move. There are also additional benefits, like the ability to access offline content. This is where, if Leah thinks maybe she's going to be in a remote area that doesn't have good phone service or no Wi-Fi, she can make sure she can still make progress in her journey. She can access that content when she doesn't have a connection. And she can complete the work here too. So here's that video assignment. Now she's on a device that has a camera and a microphone included. So she can just go ahead and record her video. And, greetings from South Lake Tahoe, just working out here for the week. And this is actually something we're seeing from a lot of our customers. So not just for leadership development, but Motorola Solutions and Stanley Black & Decker, they're having video assignments for sales pitches so that sales staff can practice and get feedback. Or Merlin Entertainment, they own Legoland. They have leaders practice value proposition as in a video assignment just like this one. So we make it just easy to be able to practice. Now, it may not be a video. It may be a document you created or a presentation you created. You can easily share it. And when I say share, that could mean a few different things. It could mean just share it with your facilitator or instructor, or it could mean share it with the cohort. So you'll see that there is a submission gallery here. Part 2 of this assignment is look at everyone's videos. You have access to them, but give some specific feedback to at least 3 of them. So you'll see that Leah can get maybe 10 points for every piece of feedback she gives to each learner here. And she's able to see what her peers did. So here's Rebecca's video, practicing her presentation for her team. And Leah can contribute to the conversation. You'll see at the bottom, she can also learn from what others are saying. So the feedback Darren, a peer, is providing is there. And also Mark, he's actually a mentor. He's Leah's manager. That's why he has that M badge over his image there on the left side of the screen. So Leah's practicing giving feedback, learning at a higher level, but also able to learn from the feedback that people are providing at the peer level as well as the expert level too. And the ability to apply the learning doesn't just stop there with individuals being able to practice and get peer-to-peer feedback. Now they can also work in small groups. A lot of our customers want their learners to learn in teams because that's the way they're going to be learning in the workplace, for instance. So we want to enable that to happen. What we've done that's different from other platforms is we've created a virtual team workspace. So this is it's a team assignment or challenge where we're having the learners break out into small groups and complete a team charter. In fact, it's one of the to-do items here, the action items that's listed here. So for a lot of our customers, this is like an asynchronous breakout room. They love that it's persistent, that it's always going to be accessible. They could do breakout rooms in tools like Zoom and other video conferencing tools. But once that meeting is over, those breakout rooms are gone. Leah, as a learner, can keep coming back, keep contributing to the conversation, and be able to do things like share documents. In fact, here's something Rebecca shared. It's a template they're going to use for that team charter assignment. You'll notice up at the top, they can share any work they've submitted before. It could be private work. They can upload any document like our PDF there. And if they do want to meet in real time, they can also create a meeting right from here. So you'll notice there's a discuss team project meeting also listed as an action item here. So someone in the team can schedule a meeting, provide a link to it, and then everyone can RSVP, and it's really clear who's coming and who's not. Even when is that meeting happening, for example. These learners are going to get a reminder for when it's time to do that. And we've seen some great ROI from the team functionality and Workspace. When we look at the data, we've noticed that there's 5 times more engagement on average when learners participate in teams like this versus when they just learn on their own in isolation. And then if you add a mentor on top of that learning experience, when we look at the data, we've seen an additional 26% increase in engagement. So we'll take a look at the mentor experience in just a moment, but let's pause and take some questions about the learner experience.
Thank you, Juan, for walking us through that. If anyone has any questions, please send them our way. We're going to answer them now, but we will stop again in a little bit to continue answering questions. A first question here for you, Juan. You talked about how content can be released on certain dates. When that does happen, is there a way to notify learners to kind of ping them to make sure that they do enter the course and continue their learning?
Yes. In addition to sending notifications right here in the application, whether it's web or mobile, you can also send all those notifications and other announcements to email addresses. So those emails can serve as calls to action to bring those learners into the learning journey at appropriate times.
Great, thank you. And the second question here is, there is a lot of feedback happening in this course, especially when you were showing, the submission gallery for the videos. How do you encourage peer-to-peer feedback? Because there are some times, in the course where you get people who are more likely to provide feedback, and then some people are a little bit more gun shy. So how do you encourage that feedback?
Absolutely. So 2 ways of doing it. One is just make it part of the curriculum here. You'll notice that the to-dos include team challenges, but those are to-dos to complete the program and get your certificate of completion. But we've got feedback here also included as additional to-do. So it could be something they have to do that gets tracked. But you can also make it fun. You can gamify it and award 10 points for contributing to a discussion, for example. The learners are going to get instant notifications letting them know, hey, you just got 10 points. So that's going to help with the engagement and get the shy people to participate.
Great, thanks, Juan. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section here, and then we'll stop again for questions in a bit.
Sounds great. All right. So we talked about how Leah has a mentor that's going to also contribute to her learning and help her develop new capabilities like being a better virtual leader. So Leah has access to her manager, Mark, as a mentor throughout the program. He has a profile too. She can send him messages. He'll get those over email as well. And then Mark, when he logs into the program, so here's what he sees on the homepage, and goes into the journeys, see my mentees tab here. By the way, you can use your own terminology. You can see my direct reports, see my learners, see my students. What we've done is created a dashboard where Mark has a bird's eye view of everything that's happening with his learners here. That way, as a mentor or a coach or facilitator, instructor, if he just has a couple minutes to spare to check in on his learners and maybe engage in a workflow, like get some feedback, he could do that, and he could do it quickly and easily. Because as you can see here, we could see exactly who needs what and where they're at. So Mark can see where those progress bars that the learners are seeing on the homepage. He knows how much of the program or journey they've completed, and he can reach out to them, whether that requires like an intervention to help them to get more engaged, like our previous question earlier, or just specific feedback. And we've actually enabled those workflows to happen very easily. So you'll notice here we've got all the learners broken out into different buckets. These are filters. As a mentor, Mark can see who needs approvals or who needs evaluations. Leah submitted something. It's her video submission for that practice exercise on leading a virtual meeting. You can watch your video and provide her some feedback. It could be positive feedback, well done, and you can check a box here and share that with the cohort. Or he could keep that feedback private. Maybe he wants to make it more constructive, one-on-one feedback. And maybe he's going to say, hey, please add an agenda and re-record, for example. So you'll see at the bottom, he can approve her work, send it back for revision. It's up to him. He decided to send it back. So now Leah's going to get pinged with a little notification saying you've got some feedback, and click or tap here to see it and follow up, close the loop, re-record your video. Now, that's an example of how we can enable someone like a mentor to provide some informal feedback. Maybe it's part of your inclusivity processes. We wanted people to give feedback the way they like to give feedback. Now, if you want to provide a different way of giving feedback, maybe you might want to make it more formal, perhaps structured. Perhaps there are specific KPIs or other metrics you need to be able to track as far as how well are these learners learning what they're supposed to learn. So here is an evaluation form. It's configurable. So you get to decide what the criteria should be in your rubric here on the right side of the screen. We just made it easy for whoever's an evaluator, and it doesn't have to be a mentor. It could be a facilitator, instructor. You can even make it a peer. We anonymize who the evaluator is. So that helps keep things private when necessary, but also encourages direct, honest feedback. And it's simple from the evaluator's perspective too. You can see what we ask the learner to do. What do they submit? So here's another video. And then here's the rubric. And you can ask specific questions about, how well did the learner learn the content? How well did they deliver it? If you're going to be practicing a value proposition, do they really understand our core values? Does that come through? Is this something that's repeatable? Is someone who hears that elevator pitch, for example, going to be able to recall it and really understand the key takeaway? So you can collect that feedback however you like. Here we have some sliders, Likert scales, but you could use, you could ask for a score, numerical score. You could ask for short answers. We even give you a feedback capture grid, so you can make some notes about what worked and what didn't. And for some of our customers, the feedback here is flowing through one of our integrations into an LMS or perhaps an HRIS, where they like to attach it to all the other feedback learners getting there as part of their performance management process, for example. So that's a little bit of the mentor's experience and how we can enable them to just quickly and easily see where their learners are at, give them some guidance and critical feedback to help them along their journey. So any questions about mentors?
Thanks, Juan. One question here about mentors. Where do these mentors come from? Like, typically, who are the people that become mentors in a course?
Yeah, good question. So for some of our clients, the mentors are managers, mentoring direct reports. For others, they're SMEs, subject matter experts. In other cases, they're senior leaders, especially in the context of this example, a leadership development journey. You may have senior leaders who just may be checking in once in a while to provide that expert level feedback. And for some of our customers, they have designated coaches on their staff. So that's who the mentor might be as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Juan. That's all I'm saying for this section. So why don't we move on to the last part?
All right. Okay. So you've seen a little bit of what that learner's experience is like, being able to be part of a social collaborative learning experience that for our customers is critical for a deeper learning program, one where you need to have some give and take between those participants, those learners. They need to be able to give each other feedback and They need to be able to understand things like nuances about leadership and about onboarding and sales enablement. So we enable you to be able to create that type of learning experience where they can have that interaction and share knowledge and best practices. And the one facilitating all of that is Denise here. So Denise built the course or journey. She has access to analytics, so she can track exactly what's working, what's not. Now, she could see analytics about the learners themselves. How many, for example, do we have enrolled? How many have completed their first assignment or completed the entire journey overall? But you can also drill down and see more specifics about performance data. How many people have completed their assignments? How are they performing on those assignments? She could drill down into a specific assignment and see even more specific data, like who started but didn't finish their assignment. This data, by the way, it's all available for your automated communications, like automated nudges you might be sending to learners who haven't started an assignment that's due really soon, for example. Now, in addition to performance data, we can look at engagement data. Here we're looking at all the discussions in this particular learning journey. You'll notice week 3 had a spike in engagement. Now you've got the ability to gain some insights on what was so great about week 3. Was it a great webinar? Maybe you had a panel of leaders speaking. Was it some great content? Maybe you're utilizing Harvard Managed Mentor, LinkedIn Learning. A lot of our customers are using these third-party content providers on our platform. What's important is you're able to see exactly what's working. So that way, take what works so well in week 3 and do it more often. Let's make more weeks look like week 3. And you not only have access to the performance and engagement data, but even some data on your actual content. So I mentioned we could upload a video and include a quiz, for example. Well, if you do that, if you upload your video to our platform, you can access data about that video, like who watched, who didn't, but also how much are they watching on average? If they stop watching when that happened, so 33 people here stop watching in the first 10% of this video. So that way, if this video did pretty well, but if this bar over here was over on the left side, and we knew people were just tuning out early on, it's good to know that you can make changes and improve the learner experience. You could chop the video up into a playlist so it's more easily consumable in chunks, or even just replace the video. Maybe it just isn't relevant, or maybe it's boring, for example. Now, if you don't see the data you need, but you don't see a report, a canned report for it, you can build a custom report. Like building a course, actually, it's all point and click, drag and drop, really. So actually, most of our customers, journey builders, course builders, they don't have instructional design background, so they love how easy it is to build a journey as well as report on one. So they can just point and click on who do they want to report on, learners or mentors or the teaching team. Maybe you might want to see what does it take to run a program like this if you're thinking about expanding, for example. And then you can just point and click at all the data you need. That includes all the interactions, all the scores for assignments available. Give your new report a name, save it, and you'll get a CSV file. Looks something like this, depending on what data you chose. And you can see the data gets really granular. And this is the data that our customers are having flow in, often through an automated integration into a central reporting system like their LMS or their HRIS. But as you can see, you can get the data yourself out of the system if NovoEd is really your main learning system as part of your ecosystem. Now, that's just a little bit of that admin experience as a facilitator. Denise can access, analytics and know exactly where her learners are at, what they need specifically. Maybe they need some clarification on instructions on what they're going to be doing. But what's most important here is she's able to also facilitate digitally. So she can be the person introducing those discussions or assignments or challenges as well as the facilitator to help create that social collaborative experience we talked about. So let me stop there, see if you have any last questions about the platform or the admin experience. And whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Juan. This last question here is from Vivian, and her question is, what delivery approaches can be used in the courses other than videos? Can the platform allow us to embed or add platforms like Articulate, Storyline, or Adobe Captivate files?
Yes to all the above. In fact, we have customers doing all of those things. They are utilizing Articulate Storyline, Rise. If you export it into a SCORM package, you can upload it directly to the journey. You could also embed it, as you asked as well, into an iframe if you host it externally on some other site.
Great, thanks, Juan. Last question here for you. How many languages is this platform available in?
It's actually available in 12 languages today and growing. I've been at NovoEd for a year and a half. I think we had about 5 languages supported 18 months ago. As I said, we work with a lot of global companies, so being able to support many languages is a priority for us. So that would include languages like Spanish and French, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Arabic, and Hebrew. So we also support right to left as well as left to right languages.
Great, thanks, Juan. And actually, one more question just came in from Raymond here. And Raymond is an online learning provider, and his question is, does the platform support multi-tenancy where we can provide the service to different companies?
Yes, it does. It is a multi-tenant SaaS solution. And what you described is exactly what our external training provider customers like Forrester are doing.
Great. Thanks, Juan. So let's move, I guess, on to the very last section, if you wouldn't mind sharing the last slide here so we can go ahead and close it out. I would like to just kind of take a moment to thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you for all your wonderful questions. If anyone is interested in learning more about blended learning, we have this ebook that we just put out recently that kind of dives more into synchronous, asynchronous, and then blended learning as well. So if you want to use your phone, you can scan the QR code here, and you should be able to download that free ebook. If you would like to learn more about NovoEd or would like a personalized demo, please just type in yes to the control panel, and we'll make sure to follow up with you. Again, thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. Please fill out the exit survey once you leave. Thank you so much, and happy holidays.